Munich Airport, 6:30 p.m. Flight number 159. Norman Mailer arrives from Paris. For the past 2 weeks, he's been working in England on the film Ragtime, directed by Milos Forman. Mailer has 5 days free and has accepted my invitation to come to Munich to shoot a documentary.
Okay, that's what I'm here for. Carry all those cameras, all those gear.
Don't go yet. I want you to shoot the crew.
Okay.
I think this would be a good time to introduce you to show all the people here.
Okay. The cameraman is Ron Fortunato
From New York.
from Brooklyn. Okay. Pierre Boucher from France. Ed Parente, he's an American. Petra Fortunato is Ron's wife. She's a photographer. Arnold Reidelhuber is from Kaiserslautern, or Zweibrücken. And Gebhardt is from Austria, Innsbruck.
The whole crew.
Wilson.
We spent a lot of time
You
with
got
it.
quite a crew.
Yeah.
You got a good
Hey,
crew.
Paul, give me one of those.
Okay. This is everything.
This is it. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Now let me give you this.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Norman,
with you. There's no hurry.
This is the program. And we're going to take you to the hotel. You can look at it, what you want to do. We'll talk it over.
Figure it out.
Okay.
All right, sure. Okay. You're pretty well blocked out.
We have time for you to relax.
But there's some
Close them out.
flexibility built in there.
Michael Lennon, a good friend of Mailer's, has come from the States to do the interviews.
No, he's in...
Prepared with over 100 questions, Mike and I want to test the muscle tone of Mailer's thoughts and opinions covering a variety of topics.
Hey, I gotta tell you...
Our 4-day shooting schedule is tightly set for various locations.
And then, you know, I don't drink anymore, so look what we got. All right. Okay. We'll take care of that tonight.
So that means you're not going to sample the Bavarian beer.
No, but that's no loss for me.
Okay.
I've never been a beer
look good.
drinker. You look good. I feel great.
Nice.
Except I'm out of shape. I haven't done any road work in about 3 weeks.
Well, we'll get some in maybe.
That would be good.
I'm a lecturer in American cultural history at the University of Munich. The students in my Norman Mailer seminar are waiting for us already.
Question. Yes.
Why do you ride? Why did you start to ride?
Why do I write? Why did I start to write? It was the only thing I was good at, and I wanted to become more attractive to the girls. And, you know, you generally do something because you're good at it. And all through my adolescence, I kept looking for something I might be good at. I used to cry piteously to any girl who would listen. I would say, I'm just not good at anything. I'm average, I'd say. I want to be good at something. And then lo and behold, in my first year at college, I discovered that writing was an exciting pursuit for me. It was an engaging activity, and it seemed to me that I might even be good at it. So I kept at it. The conclusion to the story is not without some happiness.
Putting the media down by saying they're totalitarian, and on the other hand, you use them, or let's say it's a consequence that your books are being publicized and you get free advertisement, and of course, scandals in your life are being sort of publicized by the media, which help sell the book.
I'd say that to begin with, I've often been attacked for flaunting my personal life in order to sell my books, and I can promise you that I may or may not be guilty of flaunting my personal life, but that I've known for the last 20 years that does not sell books. Quite the contrary, you do not sell books nearly so well as writers who keep a respectable persona before the public. As to why I use television when I consider it a totalitarian medium, I use it with a certain desperation. I feel that there are two choices, and neither of them is agreeable. Either one gives up the 3/4 of mankind, of humankind, that by now only watch television, and say to hell with them, they're lost. Let's save the little culture we have left, which seems to me as a dangerous offering to make. Or you go out and you attempt to argue into the teeth of this gale of electronic homogenization. In other words, you dare to lose the salts of your own personality by going on TV. In fact, I compromise on that as I do on many elements in my life. I go on TV as seldom as I can, believe it or not. There are times when I don't go on TV for 6 months, 9 months, or a year at a time. And I'm never so happy as when I don't go on TV. But there come times when I think, my God, there's nothing left in America but TV idiots. And somebody has to get out there and say something. And being nothing if not modest, I nominate myself.
What is your attitude toward women's lib?
I am half in agreement with women's lib and half in opposition. I agree with all the arguments in women's lib that state that schematically, institutionally, women have been encouraged to be cowards for centuries. And that it's very important for women to become more brave. In that sense, I'm completely in agreement with women's lib. I think, however, that like all young revolutionary organizations, they have a lust to become totalitarian. And they want to destroy their enemies before they can even see them. So I think they did me personally, the small disservice of deciding that I was the greatest sexist in America, to which I always used to reply to them, ladies, you have not been to Texas. Yes.
You just said the women's movement tends to become totalitarian, and you don't like that. Don't you think that the male system, as it is, also in America, is totalitarian?
Yes, but I always thought that women had more sense than men.
Why that?
Beg pardon?
Why should be women better than men?
Because they had been forced to suffer our brutalities and our stupidities and our dominance. And people who are on the bottom should always be smarter than people on the top, or there's no hope for humanity.
But you don't get better by suffering.
I don't think that about what?
You don't get a better person when you suffer.
Well, if you get a person, you don't get a better person, but you should get a smarter person. I mean, for instance, I think that the average black knows more about life than the average white in America. I mean, I've never met, this is a remark I made before, and people think I'm just, blowing smoke, but I've never met a stupid black man. I've met any number of black men I couldn't speak to, who wouldn't talk to me or I couldn't talk to them. But I never met a black who I felt was stupid, because stupidity is a choice. And it's not a choice that black people can afford.
But you can't compare blacks in every respect to women.
Well, what the women in America do, they say, we are your blacks. Who do I describe this to? Is this yours?
My name? Yeah, that's mine.
I don't know your name.
It's difficult. It's Beate. It's a German
Beate?
name. Yeah.
Beatrice? B-E-A-T-I?
Yes, B-E-A-T-R-I-C-E.
Beatrice.
Yes,
Yeah.
Beatrice.
My first wife's name was Beatrice.
Time ran out on our use of the university classroom, as there were still many students wanting to ask questions and to get Mailer to autograph their books. We moved the session to a local beer hall.
This is a service provided free by the management.
Yeah. Okay. What would you today consider to be major American authors today, out of your personal perspective?
Well, I think if you were to ask
Why,
us now,
especially?
if there are 20 American authors,
Yeah.
then probably are 20 American authors who, if you ask them that question, who do you think are the major American authors, they would name one author, themselves. Yeah. John Updike would say John Updike, and then he might say, and my friend John Cheever.
What would Norman Mailer say?
Saul Bellow would say Saul Bellow. Norman Mailer, you may depend upon it, will say Norman Mailer.
Of course, but besides this.
Well, it's just that we have a funny development. I'm not just being snide about myself and my fellow racketeers. It's that we have a funny situation in American letters. It isn't as if there are no giants around. There was a time when we had Hemingway and we had Faulkner, and then you could name a few others who were in the second rank, and so on. But now we're all moving. We are like the spokes of a wheel. You cannot ask a spoke of a wheel, which is who are the major spokes? The spoke will have to say, I am the only spoke as far as I can feel it. I'm the only one who's connected between the axle and the ground.
Are there any authors which you dislike? I mean, really dislike, which you...
I think are terribly overrated.
Overrated, correctly, overrated.
No, I think in a funny way we've had such It's very hard for a writer who's truly overrated to last for long, given the state of American American criticism. I mean, there are many more literary critics in America than there are working novelists who can make a living at writing novels. And so we've all been examined and re-examined. We've all passed 20, 30, 40 examinations by now. And so it'd be hard for someone who was really ersatz to get through.
Well, Pynchon.
Pynchon, yeah. Correct.
Pynchon, I'm not familiar with his work. It's possible that if there is one hoax in American literature, it would be Pynchon. Pynchon is either a genius or he's vastly overrated. I think it'd be safe to say that. I've never been able to read him, but that doesn't mean that he therefore is a hoax. I just never been able to get through the bananas in Gravity's Rainbow.